Hello and welcome. Today is Sunday. It is the 16th day of November 2014. My name is Derek. Welcome to today's silver chart analysis. The price is $16.30 US, up $1 or 6 2/3% since 8 a.m. Friday morning. Down 5.28 or a quarter of its value since July 10th of this year. Down 33.5 or 2/3 of its value going back 3.5 years. Up about 283% or $12 in the last 12 years. And down 34 and change or greater than 2/3 of its value in the last 35 years almost. So we used to talk about 30-year highs, but that was back in 2009, 2010. So it's been 5 years, so now it's 35-year values. I asked myself, what was correct market value then? And I can only make an educated, calculated guess. And typically markets, when they make lows, they're usually much lower than what the fair value is. Same thing with the highs, they're much higher than what the fair value is. So back in 1980, $50 an ounce. It seems reasonable that prices were higher than they should have been, so it would have been fair, maybe 20, maybe 25, tough to say, maybe even 30, but obviously they're depleted or depressed right now. And they say that it's triple since of inflation. The CPI calculator states that since 1980, price inflation has almost tripled. Cost of a postage stamp in 1980 was 15 cents, so it's done better than triple its cost. The price of a car, about 6 times higher. A house is greater than 3 times more. The price of gasoline is about 3 times higher as well. Bread and so many other food staples are so much higher, 5 times. And your income barely over double. So you'll hear people talking about, oh, don't worry too much about inflation because your wages will go higher. But obviously not the same degree. And inflation comes in 2 different manners. 1, price increases on different things. 2, the amount of things and services people need have increased as well. As there wasn't too many cell phone bills and all these, there's just so many other costs associated with living today than there was 35 years ago. And even the median income, that's deceiving, as in median income would show a lot different amount of the story, because we're living in a world where the rich get richer, poor getting poorer. I would make a calculated guess that the amount of millionaires and billionaires just in a 10-year period has increased greatly, probably greater than 30%. And of course, the amount of people on food stamps, if you look at the data there, that has obviously increased large. Rich getting richer, poor getting poorer. Okay, last week I talked about the Silver Eagle sales, and there's something that's been puzzling, or just been brain confusion or brain freeze or whatever you want over the weekend. Because last week I was talking about Silver Doctor stating that 2 million Eagles were sold in less than 2 hours. And you'd think, okay, with the blue line, that shows the numbers there, but blue lines are 2013 and red is 2014. So somebody's lying. Either Silver Doctors is lying by stating 2 million were sold in 2 hours when clearly this just states a little over 1 million. Or the data from the U.S. Mint is not telling the truth, stating they've only sold a little over 1 million, when, of course, as Silver Doctor states, it should be over 2 million. Regardless of the fact there has been none sold this week whatsoever, so they are obviously still sold out. Interesting as well, I'm going to say. And non-surprising as well. Let's take a look at the daily chart now for silver. And on Friday, the gain of 63 cents or a little over 4%. And it broke down below this low, thus the failed breakdown before the move higher. Or it could be that failed breakout again that's going to create another leg lower. There was one large leg lower here going sideways at leg 2 going lower. Will there be a third? I don't know, but it has it has price action in towards this declining 18 average. It's closed above the 18 average of close, which is set in at $16. The last time that the price closed above this 18 average of highs would take us back to this day here. So it's the first time within this particular bear market on the daily time frame that has been the case. For me to find the signs for a reversal, what I need to occur is a breakout above this band. Now, most likely what's going to happen is it's probably going to go sideways for a substantial period of time, maybe even into December, probably within a range of about 15.5 to about 16.33, 16.5, and go sideways for a couple of weeks, but that might not be the case. However, what I'm looking, and of course that would be fine, but what I'm looking for is established resistance. The obvious one is the range of this previous low and this high. So in between 16.75 to 17.75 range. And of course this Fibonacci mark is set in at 17.25, 17.33. But established resistance somewhere, here, wherever. And then that should make this 18, or would make this 18 average band start to slowly rise. And then either A, continuous upside action, or B, A, move back to this 18 average, and then, of course, breaking established resistance at that point. Again, I'll be talking about a multi-month bull market that could come into play. There has been so many fake moves that have come into play. But at some point, it's going to happen. And you can say all you want, well, you know what? Prices are down so much, it's just overdue. And if you're physically buying the silver and you can handle waiting and you don't mind the fact that, okay, it might go down to 12 or 13 or 14 before it essentially starts to have a nice up run, well, what's the big deal? To me, you're just accumulating dollar cost average. It shouldn't make that big of a difference, just that if you are in that mode, to me, if you got the funds to buy, there really shouldn't be much stopping you, in my opinion, from loading up on more physical silver, physical gold, so on and so forth. I would be highly surprised if this fiat currency system model is going to survive the test of time. However, with that being said, it's been about 6.5 years now since the information to how our fiat currency is made and why it is guaranteed to cause a lot of stress and suffering amongst the lower and middle classes to excruciating levels. You think by now that the human race would have been fed up by it, but obviously no, and there's no signs anytime soon of just a major change in society. Now Friday's date did have that interesting gain, and I wouldn't be surprised when this thing gets going where you have large up days, even greater than 4%, 7, 8, 9% in a day, or multiple green candles up where you have 4% one day, 3% the next, maybe the next day you're only down 1%, then you're up 4, you're up 2, you're up 2 again, where you have multiple up days in a row. When this thing, keyword when, it is going, because people talk about how silver takes stairs up, and then an elevator down, whatever. You know what? To a degree, that's true, but not really, because oftentimes it can take the elevator up. And quite frankly, since 2011, it has done more such in taking the stairs to the way down than it has the elevator, with the slow and grinding, just crush this thing down to as far as they can go. Obviously, they could bring it down to barely over 15. Will it be lower? You'd probably have to say probable, but it's even more probable to me that as several months and years go on in the future, that this thing will have gone up much higher. So thank you for tuning in, and have yourself a magnificent upcoming week. Bye-bye.